How did you think this was going to play in Dallas?
I thought it would play well. People in Texas, despite where they lay on the political spectrum, are cool. There's a coolness to Texans, and I think Texans appreciate absurdity, and I think we're living in pretty absurd times, and so I wanted to make a movie that was reflective of that. So I expected it to play well, and I thought, we got some good laughs last night. People were appropriately uncomfortable, and so yeah, I was thrilled. And being kind of we do bubble up in LA. We kind of stay in our bubble everywhere we go. We kind of stay in our bubble, and to kind of come down and hear people and draw, be like, I loved it. Like, it just makes you happy, because it's an American movie, and that's kind of the fun part now. So we get to go to a lot of cities and see this country of ours and talk to the folks. So yeah, and it's just also having people that weren't involved with the movie seeing it now, because they're all phonies. They're paying me lip service. I want real feedback. So it was pretty exhilarating.
Where'd you come up with the idea for this? Was it before Trump or?
Yeah, it was the Thanksgiving after the 2016 election. And Thanksgiving is a very big holiday in my family, and my parents come out. My brother lives in LA, so he comes. And after dinner, there was some wine and whiskey going around, and my brother and my mom and I got into a pretty big argument. And the crazy thing about it was we were all on the same side. We all more or less enthusiastically voted, one way, but we were all blaming each other. My brother was like, "Oh, well, Bernie should have done this," and my mom was like, "Well, I'm in the Midwest. They completely forgot about this." So we're all like fighting about stuff. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is happening in this house, which is all people who are politically aligned. What the hell's going on around the country?" And then as I started talking to friends and family of mine and hearing these crazy stories about dinners blowing up and people getting physical and stuff, I just knew that the holiday table has changed forever now. And I think in years past you could kind of safely sidestep it, and you could kind of pivot to something else in politics that came up. But the reality now is that unless you are incredibly disciplined and the family has implicit agreements before dinner to not talk about it, it will probably come up in some form. And so yeah, I really wanted to. I knew that the house the week of Thanksgiving, amidst politically fraught times, was kind of a fun container for it. And then, as far as the concept of the loyalty oath, I really love films that are dystopic, and I always like to kind of think of the mythology. How did we get here? How did this happen? And to kind of take a government overreach, an event that comes from that, and have that be the thing that's making everyone crazy. That was the other kind of component that just kind of blended them together a little bit.
Well, it's going to be a fun Thanksgiving for you.
What do you anticipate for your family this Thanksgiving?
Luckily, they've all seen them. My brother's in it, so he knows about it very well. I think it'll be a little bit better this year, but who knows? It's going to be right after the midterms, and we're either going to be good drunk or bad drunk. One of those two things. But the most common thing I've heard by far is from people who have seen it is, you have been saying to me, you have been watching my Thanksgiving. This is you, I am you in this movie, or I am your wife, or your brother's my uncle. and I think it is just something that is so common now, and we all have to kind of, like this year more than ever, people are like putting on armor before they go to sit down and eat. So I'm hoping it'll be really fun, but who knows?
Well, we have to laugh. We live in such bizarre times.
We honestly, I'm Jewish, and for years, people would say, my dad said, well, the Jews have to have a sense of humor because of everything they've been through. And I think now, I was talking to someone downstairs, and I said, we are living, it's a miracle we're not all bipolar now, because the way the news cycle is something insanely bad has happened, and then followed by something so crazy. I said, what other world could you wake up and see that the president, his administration has lost track of 3,500 migrant children? And then 3 hours later, you're like, oh yeah, the porn star he had an affair with said his penis looks like Mario's mushroom. And both of these things exist in the same day. And it's impossible to not have incredibly appropriately matching reactions. And waking up and crying, and then 3 hours later be like laughing so hard that you can't believe it. So it is this absurd time we're living in, and I did want to shine a light on that and show how it's kind of breaking everyone's brain in a certain way, and you know, the overall message of the movie is an optimistic one. I find it's you know, this too shall pass, I hope. But let's try our best. Our obligation as humans is to try our best to not let these external forces destroy our internal units and our relationships with our friends and family. And there will be a day where maybe we don't have a President Trump. We may have a day where it's Donald Trump Jr. But regardless, you know, we really should try our best to not let them divide us. That's what sports are about.
Since satire is always based on a little truth,
Yes.
do you feel like that this is something that could happen, that we're heading in that direction where they would make everybody sign a pledge?
I haven't checked Twitter in the last hour. Has it happened?
You wouldn't be surprised.
You know, it's crazy. When I first came up with the concept, I never really knew a lot about Donald Trump before he really got politically involved. I always thought he was kind of just like this jokey kind of figure, like a Batman villain. But like the 60s TV show, not like a cool Christopher Nolan, more like, hello Batman, you know, like that. But I knew he was obsessed with loyalty, and so I knew that could be kind of a fun, basic kind of concept to center around. And then as we were getting deeper and deeper in the process, when we were writing it and starting to get ready to shoot it, things started happening that were pulled from the movie almost, where he cornered Jim Comey. He's like, can I count on you? Are you loyal? And then, you know, there was a National Loyalty Day, which is something that has always existed, but we never heard of it because we never had a president who was obsessed with loyalty. So as we were getting deeper and deeper, we had this weird thing where life was copying art, which was copying life. So it was this kind of just, what's going to happen next?
You can get an idea from this movie.
I know, someone said that in the car, they're like, you better hope he doesn't see this. You know, it actually is not a bad idea. Maybe we can pull it up.
Are you worried you're on the bad list now?
I think I joined that list many years ago. There's a website called Twitter.com. I'm an actor, I'm relatively blue, and I'm very salty on Twitter and aggressive. So if there is a bad list, I have a feeling I'm on it. The thing I tried to ask people when I was getting involved in the film early on is, would you sign it? And the reality is, right now, I would say I absolutely would not sign it. Of course not. How dare you ask me to sign something that infringes my civil liberties? I would never do that. But, and my character would look down upon people who sign it. And the reality is it's not, how can you say to someone who needs health insurance and they don't have it, and the government's saying, if you sign this thing, you're going to get a medical waiver, we're going to cover about 80% of your health care. How do you say to someone, just don't sign it? You can't. It's an individual's decision. And there are also probably people even on my side of the aisle who would say, it's not a big deal. I don't care. It's like the Pledge of Allegiance. My kid says the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't care. I'll say it one time. Who cares? We make it a couple bucks. So, yeah, I think it's you know, it's easy to say you won't, and it's even easier to judge people for doing something that you might think is morally wrong, but I did want to have my character a little isolated and have people slowly realize, hey, we had to sign not because we necessarily believe in it, but because for whatever reason, our job, our kids, there's some kind of obligation or something belonging to us. And unlike you, we're not going to let this thing dictate our lives. And yeah.
I mean, when you're looking historically, whether you're looking at, you know, Nazi Germany or the Khmer Rouge, don't you think this has happened to families already?
100%. I very obsessed with McCarthyism, with the Red Scare. And I think that did tear a lot of families apart. It tore a lot of friendships apart. The thing that struck me about that is the paranoia. The same thing with any kind of fascist state is you don't know who is doing it, and you're a guy in 1948 and you get in a fight with a business partner, and then the FBI comes and they tell you that they think that you're doing subversive stuff, and you're sure it's your business partner who did it because you guys are in a fight, but it's the guy who shined your shoes and didn't tip him. And to not know, and that feeling of I can't trust my family, I can't trust my friends, and it's this concept is really tearing us apart. I thought it was something worth exploring.
Now, of course, this movie's going to cause a lot of conversations. Are there movies that, certain movies that were, I guess, influential to you that you just couldn't stop talking about?
Definitely, yeah. Kind of some strange ones. I love MASH very much. The movie MASH. I love not just kind of the antic, frenetic style and the real way they talk to each other, but also how they weave in between really dark and really fun. There's a great scene in MASH where Hot Lips Houlihan is getting a tour of the OR, and there's two doctors who are operating. They're just completely covered in blood and organs. And she goes like, how's it going over here? And the guy goes, are you kidding? and I remember as a little kid being like, it's so dark and it's so funny. There's another really, really old movie called Mrs. Miniver, old William Wyler film with Greer Garson from the 40s. And I saw that when I was young and I rewatched it. And what struck me about that is it's one cohesive movie that has two separate fields. The first part of the movie is, well, there's a war going on, but life in this pastoral English town is charming, and the husband is going away. But then the second half is the Nazi is in the house, and so I definitely thought about that. Children of Men is something that I didn't think about in the whole dystopian nature, and then I love Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday, and there's not a ton of great Thanksgiving movies. There's, by my count, 2 Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is, I think, the best. And Hannah and Her Sisters has a very nice holiday feel, but it's not really about Thanksgiving. So I watched Planes, Trains a couple of times, just because I love John Candy. It's research. It's research. It's the only time I was able to say it's research. But those were kind of the ones that I think, and I know there were other comps. People mentioned The Ref, Swimming with the Sharks. I guess all those movies that were the tied-up man genre of the late 90s. But the ones I mentioned are the ones that really had more of a kind of a spiritual influence. So.
You and Tiffany are having such a great year, both of you.
Well, I mean, she is just, she is the queen of the world. And I've been a big fan of hers since the film Keanu. And I was like, gosh, she's so real, tough, and she would be a great wife, that movie for me. And so the minute I came up with the idea of a husband and wife Thanksgiving, I was like, well, she's my wife, that's great. And I got in touch with her manager, and I was like, I really think she'd be great for this. And he said, okay, she just did this movie Girls Trip, and I think it's going to be big. He was basically telling me, like, I don't think you're going to get her. But I sent her the script, and she read it. She's like, oh, I'll meet you. And she's very deep, and she's had we all see her on the red carpet being crazy and stuff, and she's had a crazy life and has a very unique point of view in this country. And she really said to me, she's like, this is happening now. This is a story we need to tell. So I got her. It was crazy because, like, right when we were shooting is when she was making that leap from, like, famous to, like, really, like, hosting Saturday Night Live, and it was just, like, I've never seen someone, like, be pulled in so many directions, but the minute she came to set, it was just, like, boom, and laser focused, and just, yeah, she's a national treasure, I think.
So what are you looking forward to next?
Well, I'm writing another movie by myself that is, it's a little bit like this, but I think it's going to end up being maybe a little less funny and a little more dark. It's exploring the pitfalls of social media interactions and why we need to be very careful. Because it is a web that you can get stuck in and eaten. So we have that, and then we're my partner and I usually write movies with my partner Dave. We've been together for years, and we're writing a big kind of buddy comedy for Paramount, and then I'm gonna try to be like a husband and a father in that whole thing, and like be home and like take my kids to school because I've kind of been running around. But hopefully they like this movie enough where someone says, "Oh, you can do another one," eventually.
So how do you explain our times to our kids? That's something we're discussing in the elevator.
I can't decide if we will be able to look back and almost be glad that we were here for this, because look, there are good things that are coming out of this. People who never cared about politics or civics or even had a basic understanding of how our government works are now activated, and I'm seeing a lot of young kids who are like, oh, voting is cool. Voting has never been cool. Like it's like they've tried, MTV tried Rock the Vote, but like still kids are like, I don't care. But now you see like kids that can't even vote yet, that are like, I can't wait to. Remember in The Breakfast Club? Remember Anthony Michael Hall's character?
Right.
Fake ID, and he's like, why do you have a fake ID? And he goes, to vote. And it's like, now that kid is like the cool kid, which is so great. So I can't decide if I'll be able to look back at this time and be like, I'm glad I was there and I was trying to fight the good fight, or if I'll be in a gulag sneaking cabbage to my daughter and being like, I'm so sorry. So yeah, it's one of the two.
If there was one change, what one change do you think would make a major difference to our political system?
New president? No, I think kind of the big takeaway, it is I think a Herculean task, but I can't imagine most people look at the Electoral College and say, that's a system that makes sense. Like, 4 million more people or 3 million more people wanted the other person, but it's just, that makes sense. People in Europe think we're insane. And I think they're insane. Their governments like are breaking up all the time, but like the Electoral College seems to me, it just doesn't make sense. I just can't understand. Like picking a leader based on just simply geography doesn't make sense. It has to be the people. So if I was able to magically wave a wand and kind of change a little bit of the DNA of the country, I would maybe take a look at that and say, let's make it like leaders of the people a little bit more, as opposed to random electors in Montana. No offense to Montana, beautiful place.
Would you give to kids about this business, because it's a crazy one?
It's a crazy one. Try to have thick skin. The one piece of advice I tell everyone is don't like, there's this big machine, right, that is show business, and you go in and sometimes you get out the other side and you're working and stuff, but a lot of people just leave it to the gods. I'm gonna go in the machine and hope that it happens. And I think if you're just doing that, you're missing an opportunity. And what I tell people is, if you are able to write on any level, write. Take a story that only you know, something personal, something crazy, something you think is weird. Maybe it's a TV show, maybe it's a movie, maybe it's a play, maybe it's 10 minutes of stand-up comedy, but if you are able to kind of take a little bit of what's inside your head and display it, and listen to people like, I don't know how to type, and I'm like, find someone who can type and sit with them, find a partner. But I think if you are able to create and kind of show why you're special, what your interesting, strange, specific POV that only you have because you grew up and were raised in these specific circumstances. If you can do that on any level, I think you're ahead of 80% of the field, because you're at least active and trying to do something and tell your story. And we see so many people who just based on the machine shouldn't work. Like Tiffany Haddish but like her story and her drive and her positive attitude is, I think, one of the reasons people feel this connectivity towards her, and it's because she took that time and was like, I'm gonna do stand-up comedy, and she got up and told these crazy stories about being a foster child and stuff. So that's the one piece of advice I would tell people is stretch a little bit and try your best to create. And that's good advice from a man who's had 7 cups of coffee.
Great advice. So what do you suppose is the one day scene or time like on the set that you think you'll always remember, like that was a special day?
The Thanksgiving dinner scene. It was like something like 8 or 9 pages, which is kind of a beast. And, you know, we only had 19 days to shoot the whole thing, and I was very worried just because, you know, it could be a beast. And I almost started crying after the first take because the actors took so much time to go and run the lines over and over and over by themselves. And that was a great thing about this movie is my cast. You guys know how it is on sets. A lot of times the actors are going to their little tiny honey wagons or trailers and they sit and they go on their phone and then, you know, yeah, we're right, okay, I'll be in a minute, and they all trickle in. But this cast, they liked each other, and there was a little small room on the corner of the house that they all just posted up in. And I mean, the room is like from here on, and they sat and they ran the scene all day. So we sat down, and I think we were using a lot of the first take because it was just so great. And that was and I was also up at 5 a.m. cooking all that food with my prop master because I love Thanksgiving so much. I cooked the food at my house, and I had a very specific look. I wanted the food to like have a very specific look and feel and stuff. So I was chopping chervil at 5 a.m. But that scene is definitely the one that I like the most.
Do you see a sequel in the works if Trump gets elected again?
The Oath 2. Still oathing. Yeah, I would love to see a sequel to this. Again, though, I might be in the gulag. I gotta see what kind of equipment we have there before I shoot the thing. But the door's always open. Seth Rogen said, always leave the door open. That's why we're doing Neighbors 3. Not unless we go to outer space.
Shot this in 19 days. Can you talk about your budget and the constraints you have on this?
Budget was small, and it was really the reason we had 19 days was really the availability of our actors. I shot the movie between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and people left. They're going out of town a lot, they're doing those end of the year gigs and stuff. So just based on my board, it was a lot of math. My line producer is a genius named Kristen Murtha, and she was the one who really weaved this schedule together. So it was a little shoot and go. It was very running that style. Luckily, the 80% of the movie, 5% of the movie is at one location. That presented another whole challenge because it's very easy to write a movie in one location. Very hard to write a movie, to shoot a movie in one location and not make it boring and visually dull, and let the audience feel like it's the set is evolving. So that was something I really focused on. Was if you notice when you watch it, the kind of the first half of the movie, nice and big and wide and colorful and vibrant stuff, and then as the bad things start to happen, it starts to take on darker tones. The frames are getting smaller and smaller, and the colors are turning darker and getting that burnt orange feeling. So the challenge was to make sure it felt like it was evolving as a story.
Well, we're limited time and a limited budget. You had a great cast.
That was another thing too, where we, in terms of money, you go to the cast and they're like, we don't have money for this. We have very little. I mean, it was a union gig, so everyone didn't make money and stuff. But we, I think my cast are good people who feel strongly about America, and I think the subject matter intrigued them enough, and the time commitment wasn't like 3 months in Hong Kong. It was really we were really lucky to have people be like guys like John Cho, who's a busy guy, Tiffany Hedge, no one busier than her, be like, okay, I see what you're trying to do, and I think it could work, and I'll let you work. I'll work for you for dirt cheap. But I made $1 less than everyone. That's my policy. $1.